All right, hi guys. Today we're going to talk about exploring adding and subtracting multi-digit decimals. As you can see here, I have our workbook out that I'm going to be working through with you, and I'm going to read through the problems and explain what to do, and then hopefully whenever you get back to your workbooks, you'll be able to do the same thing. So this problem here says, Mateo's trying to swim the 100-meter freestyle event in Youth Olympic Games. During practice, he swims 2 laps. What is his total time for the 2 laps? Now you can see over here that they have lap 1 and lap 2 written for how many seconds it took Mateo. So you could do this a couple different ways. You could try and add up just those 2 numbers side by side in a standard algorithm. So we would take 24.138 and then 25.393 and add those together, right? Because it's just saying he's got these 2 laps. What is his total time? Total tells us we want to know altogether how much that time is. So we're just going to add with our standard algorithm, moving from right to left. What's 8 plus 3? 8 plus 3 is 11, so we carry our 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 9 is 13, so we put our 3 down here and carry our 1. Okay, 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 3 is 5. And then bring down your decimal. Remember, adding some decimals, line up your decimals. 4 plus 5 is 9, and then 2 plus 2 is 4. So that's our standard algorithm of how to add up these problems. If you don't really like having just the standard algorithm, or if that doesn't click for you just yet, you don't really understand why we're carrying the 1, we can also take what we know and we can split it apart. So if we say, okay, we've got 24.138 plus 25.393, well, that's the same thing as 24 plus 25 plus 1/10 plus 3/10 plus 3/100 plus 9/100, and I'm going to carry this down over here, plus 8/1000 plus 3/1000. Okay, so we've got here 24 and 25. Those are the numbers to the left of the decimal. And then we've got 1/10 and 3/10, then 3/100 and 9/100, and then 8/1000 and 3/1000, right? And you can work that out and you can say, okay, all of that equals 49, 24 plus 25, plus 0.1 plus 0.3 is 0.4, plus 0.03, 3/100 plus 0.09, 9/100 is the same thing as 12/100, plus 0.008 or 8/1000 plus 0.003, 3/1000 is 11/1000. So we put 0.011 for that to be in the thousands place. Okay, then you can take that and you can split it apart even further. 49 plus 0.4 plus 0.1, right? Keep things in the tenths place. And then of course we've got 0.02, that's the hundredth spot, plus 0.01, also in the hundredth spot. And then we have a thousandth spot right at the end, right? So we're going to add all those together, and that would be 49 plus 0.5, right? 4/10 plus 1/10 equals 5/10, plus 0.03, 3 from 200ths and 100 would make your 300ths. And then add in that 0.001, which is 1/1000th, right? And if you put all of that together, you still get 49.531. Okay? So the total time would be 49.531 seconds. Another thing you could also do is you could make a table of each place value. You could have your tens, your ones, your tenths, your hundredths, and your thousandths, right? And you could say, okay, for each of these, we've got 24. So the 20 goes in the tens place, the 4 goes in the ones place. There's obviously a decimal here in each spot, right? The tens place is a 1, the hundredths place is a 3, and then the eighths place, or the thousandths place, sorry, is an 8. And then the same for the 25 number. 25, 20 is in the tens, 5 is in the ones, 3 is in the tenths place, 9 is in the hundredths place, and 3 is in the thousandths place. And then you just add them together like with our standard algorithm. The total time would then be 49.531. If we have more than 10 over here for our thousands, which we do, we have 11, we're taking the 1 and bringing it over here to the hundredths spot because it's going to regroup over that way. 1 plus 3 plus 9 is 13. Bring that 1 again up over. And then 1 plus 1 plus 3 is 5. And then 9 and 4. That's how we can do our first page. Okay, we're going to talk through each piece of this. So this says, look back, what is Mateo's total time for the 2 laps? Explain how you can find the answer. Well, we found the answer, which was 49.531 seconds, right? And the reason is, if you add the 2 times for those 2 laps, to add the times, you can line up the numbers by place value and then add the digits in each place. And then you regroup when you have a sum of digits that are 10 or more. So taking those 2 laps that we had, we would add the times for the 2 laps, right? And then to add those times again, we could line up the numbers by place value, the tens place value, the ones place value, the tenths place value, the hundredths place value, and the thousandths place value. And then of course, you would just regroup when a sum of digits is 10 or more. Here it says, look ahead, place value can help you add or subtract decimals. You add 25.393 and 24.138 to find Mateo's total time. You can subtract 24.138 from 25.393 to find out how much faster Mateo swims the first lap than the second lap. How could it help you to line up the decimals on their decimal points? So lining up the decimals on their decimal points also lines up those digits by their place value. If you'll notice here, so I'm going to write here, it helps you line up the digits by place value, right? So here we've got 25.393 minus 24.138 with those decimals lined up, right? Subtracting some decimals, line up your decimals. Everything's going to be in line so that we have the thousandths underneath each other, the hundredths in the right spot, the tenths in the right spot, the ones and the tens in the right spot. It says, what do you need to do before you can subtract the digits and the thousands place? Well, can I take 8 from 3? I can't. So I've got to do some regrouping. I've got to borrow from this section. I've got to bring it over, right? I can take an extra 10 from this area and make it a 9. Or I'm sorry, and make that 9 and 8, right? If I do that, I can bring those 10 units over here into the tenths place and make this, instead of a 3, it's now a 13. So I can say, okay, 13 minus 8 gets me what? If you're not sure, we need to practice our math facts. So 13 minus 8 is 5, okay? And then 8 minus 3, we can do that. We can't do 3 minus 8, but we can do 8 minus 3. 8 minus 3 is also 5. How fun is that? And then 3 minus 1 is 2. Now that decimal does have to come down, right? We've got our decimals here. We keep everything lined up. 5 minus 4 is 1. And then 2 minus 2 is 0, which I don't have to write there because if it's on the outside, it doesn't change the number. So my answer is 1.255 seconds faster, right? So here again, we need to regroup. One hundredth as 10 thousandths, because 3 thousandths is less than 8 thousandths. Okay. All right, here it says complete the equation. 9 hundredths plus 3 thousandths equals 8 hundredths plus how many thousandths? And the answer here is 13. It takes 13 thousandths to be the same thing as 9 plus 3 for 8 hundredths and 13 thousandths. That's how we're regrouping. We're bringing that 9 hundredths, we're bringing one of those over, right? And turning it into 8 hundredths. And we're adding those 10 units to the thousandths place. So that gives us 13 thousandths. All right, how much faster is Mateo's time for the first lap than the second lap? And how did we find our answer? Once we figured this out up here, we were able to work through and add or subtract the digits that have the same place value. So doing that, we lined up the digits place value, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, hundredths, thousandths, whatever, so on. In this case, it really just went up to thousandths. But once you do it, you find your answer. So you line up the decimal and place value to add or subtract and then that's how we've got that. All right, I want you to reflect. How do you use place value when adding or subtracting decimals? So you need to add or subtract digits that have the same place value. And to do this, again, you line up your digits by place value. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, they gotta be on top of each other. So tenths on top of tenths, hundredths on top of hundredths, thousandths on top of thousandths as you move along. Okay, I keep using this word place value. I wanna make sure that we are clear on what it means. So what is place value? What is it? It's actually the value of a digit based on where it is in the number. So we're gonna write that. It's the value of a digit based on where it is in a number. You might also make a note that that's how far away it is from the decimal, because how many places away from the decimal it is determines what place value it is. Okay, so what do I know about it? Well, we know that the value of each place is 10 times the value of the place to its right. So let's write that. The value of each place is 10 times the value of the place to its right. And 1/10 of the value of a place to its left. All right, so an example would be if we had tens and then ones and then a decimal and then tenths, we could put in the numbers 85.3. That's an example of place value. The 5 is in the ones place. The 3 is in the tenths place and the 8 is in the tens place, okay? You could also take time to draw out what this would look like. So if you wanted to, you could split this up and say, okay, I've got 10 lines right? And then of course we'll make it go 10 lines up at the top as well. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh no, I've messed up. Let's give one more here. Not perfect drawing by any means, but pretty close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I did the same thing here. Okay, so we've got 10. And did that do it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. Okay. So if we color in just one of these guys, one of these sides, that's like saying we've got 0.1 equals 10 times 0.01. If these are 100 spots, this guy right here is one of those hundreds, right? But then when we color it all the way in, we've got 10 of those to equal a tenth. All right, and then some other examples, just writing them out. You could write 0.4 equals 4 tenths, or 0.04 equals 4 hundredths, or 0.004 equals 4 thousandths. Okay, good, awesome. Let's keep going. The last for this session is this practice problem here, practice number 3. It says, in science class, Layla mixes 0.165 liters of a blue liquid and 0.185 liters of a green liquid. What is the total volume of Layla's mixture? Okay, we can figure this out by just doing what? Just adding those. So yeah, we're gonna take time to say, okay, 0.165 plus 0.185. Notice I've kept my ones lined up, my tenths lined up, my hundredths lined up, and my thousandths lined up, okay? So then I'm gonna add those up. 5 plus 5 is what? 10, we carry our 1, right? It's gonna go from the thousandths place into the, it's gonna go from the, thousandths place into the hundredths place. I said that right. And then 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 plus 8 is 15. Carry our 1. And then 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. Bring down our decimal. We want to keep it all in the right spot by keeping our decimal in the right spot. And then 0 plus 0 is, of course, 0. I do want you to put that 0 there for clarity. We don't just leave it off, right? So our solution, the total volume, and again, total is what cued us in for that we needed to add, right? The total volume of Layla's mixture is, I'm going to put 0.35 liters. Now, why didn't I put that 0? Well, it actually doesn't need to be there because 0.35 is the same thing as 0.350, okay? So if I've got just 0.35 liters, that's still 35 hundredths of a liter, and this is 35 hundredths as well, okay? When it says here, check your problem to 3A, show your work, well, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to figure out if we've got the right amount from one to the other, okay? So we can try to do it again, which some people think that's checking our work, but what I would suggest is turning this into a subtraction problem. So we're just gonna go backwards. We're gonna say, okay, if we have 0.350 and we subtract 0.185, we should get this answer here. We should get 0.165. So we're gonna go ahead and try it. Now 0 minus 5, that doesn't work, right? We can't take 5 away from 0. If I have $0, I can't loan you 5. So we've got to borrow from over here and regroup. We're going to turn this into 4 hundredths, and we're going to turn this then into 10 thousandths, okay? 10 minus 5 is 5. Uh-oh, we've run into the same problem. 4 minus 8 we can't do, so we're going to have to borrow from our tens place, make that a 2, and turn this into a 14. 14 minus 8 is 6, and then 2 minus 1 is 1, and then we put our decimal and we put our 0, and look at that, it's the same thing. So for us to check our answer, we're able to say that is the same thing as that, so we are good to go. All right, thanks for watching this video, and I hope that it's helpful for you. We'll be back in school tomorrow for session 2.